My name is Daniel Kilby, and I don't know who might see this or when they might see it, or none of that really matters. I've been homeless, or on the verge of homelessness, for a year and a half now. I get been struggling so hard to just get back up on my feet, primarily due to getting really sick last year. I have a lot of hustle to me, and I've been through struggle before, primarily as a kid, former foster youth and whatnot. But I don't know. I moved to the wrong state, I guess. I ended up going through full body paralysis on a regular basis. I ended up having seizure-like activity, memory issues, full body fatigue, full body pains, and what it took to figure out what was wrong was I had to go out of the state for a little while just to test a theory, and I suddenly got better. I was physically in great shape after spending 3 weeks out of the state, and then moving back to Washington, I ended up within a couple of days being back in the ER. And so they determined I have an environmental allergy of some sort, and told me I needed to get out of the state. And if you're wondering how I was able to do any of that, especially considering, I haven't really had income, not in any significant sense, not anywhere near what I was making when I was a personal banker. The suit is from years ago. I have the one thing that's kept me going is this nonprofit I started running called the Young Entrepreneurs Club for at-risk homeless and foster youth. And I started it before I got sick, and then when nothing else worked, when I only had 10 hours a week to function, and it was sporadic, and I didn't always know where I was going to be staying. Sometimes I've slept in my car recently, and sometimes I just went to a shelter, whatever. Yeah. I'm here by the grace of God. So I started this nonprofit a year and a quarter ago, and maybe close to a year and a half. My mind. That's the hardest thing. If you ever become homeless or ever struggle with the level of worry involved with not only being homeless but sick. So sick you're not even sure if you're going to live past next week. The hardest thing is you could know all the things in the world to function as an adult and not be able to do them, and that wears on your mind. That makes it really hard to make all of the appropriate decisions, with hindsight being 2020. It makes your body is just, it does this thing that's similar to when you stop breathing. It knocks you out so that it can try and regulate itself. And emotionally, I'm essentially there. I was told within a week of my diagnosis that I needed to leave the state of Washington because it was life-threatening for me to stay. And my dad, who recently came back into my life, offered me a place to stay with him for a few months. And that arrangement was meant to be 3 months of me recovering and trying to figure things out. No costs, and try to get back up on my feet. And it turned into that wasn't the case. And not only that, but I was told that I'd have the ability to reevaluate what I needed because I didn't know all that I'd need at that time after 3 months. And well, they didn't like the job I was working and told me I needed to leave it about 3-4 weeks ago, and gave me 72 hours to live with them if I didn't change jobs. And I got 2 job offers within pretty much those 72 hours. And they extended my stay. And the first job that I took was actually a referral from my stepmom. And that job didn't end up panning out because of a couple of reasons, but the primary one is that I've been in this sales industry for 9 years, and I can't work for a company that doesn't ethically sell. And I don't feel that doing things like lying about whether or not you just euthanized your dog just to be relatable is ethical sales, and that was the sort of environment I was working in. So I told them I couldn't work that job, that I had to wait until the other job would kick in, and they told me, okay, you need to be out in 48 hours. And so yeah, I mean, there's going to be people who say just sit it out, wait until you get fired. I don't think that's right either. That's taking money from a business when I said I was going to do work and not doing the work. And then the other side of it is just there are going to be people who say do the work, make the money. It doesn't matter about the impact it has in the world. And the issue with that is that society doesn't function if everybody and their brother and their sister is self-centered. It collapses because everybody's always at war with each other, and nobody wins in that environment. And even the people who take advantage of camaraderie, who try to be self-centered, the exceptions to the general human rule, they end up in the position where they're tolerated by society. They aren't honored. They aren't really praised, except by exception when people's emotions are a little out of whack because of other things that have been going on. They're the people we charge with pitchforks after, because they take advantage of society to the point that it just comes down to 2 choices. You either take the sucker out, or you decide that whatever they have isn't valuable anymore. A great illustration I used to give is back in middle school, there was this kid who used to show off, and he's a really good soccer player, but he would purposefully go after kids he knew were way under his league, way below his league, and he would run away from guys like me who were actually at least as good as him, and wouldn't face off with us. And it was total showboating. He wanted to impress the ladies. And eventually everybody caught on, and nobody played soccer. And he didn't last much longer. He couldn't tolerate living in an environment where he wasn't valued because he had some insecurities, and he ended up leaving the school. That's what happens. Is the people who break down society for their own interests, big or small, they don't get remembered. They don't belong to the history books. At least history doesn't look favorably upon them if they do. And it's as if they never existed to begin with. So I was going somewhere with that, and that is that I'm doing this as more of a video diary to me, because I know I'm going to make it through. I know I'm going to push past this, and that honestly I am in the difficulties I'm in because of mostly unfortunate events. Needing people who, it's never good to be in a position where you have to take whatever help you can. It's much better to choose the help that comes your way, because having that choice allows for you to really understand the consequences of it. If somebody's expecting something of you after helping you, that's when you're in a place where you can't give anything, that's not necessarily a great place to be in. So I know there's been a lot of tangents, and that, again, that's mostly my mind is not functioning the way it would normally. But ultimately, I'm really needing to articulate what I'm going through. Feeling like I've lost my voice. I've done crazy things. I am personally responsible for, at minimum, helping over the course of 7 years of finance, helping Chase and Wells Fargo, after the crash, bring in close to $88 million in savings and investments, at minimum. That's if I count 1% of my clients having been converted. I'm responsible for saving those same clients. I've helped 45,000 people recover, saving them over $85 million just between credit cards and mortgage interest. I've helped people reevaluate their credit cards so that they actually got the max amount of benefit from it. Things like automatically paying their card off every month so that they didn't even pay attention to their credit limit. They looked at their checking account as their available balance. Looking through 90 days worth of transaction history to really evaluate which rewards card made the most sense, point-wise, so that I could earn them anywhere from $1,300 to $3,000 a year in rewards points. I've helped people earn $1.2 million a year in rewards points on credit cards. And I get to say all that because I did some really cool things, and I've had some really bad luck. And at the end of the day, I'm not wondering if I'm going to make it out from the standpoint of whether or not I deserve it or whether or not I'm capable of it. Because my impact is already there. This is what I have done. I'm here from the standpoint of wishing that as a foster youth, people didn't like playing hot potato with who should be supporting me. And from the standpoint of, this really sucks, and I've got to talk about it and be real with myself over it. And from the standpoint of, it's not fair. But also from the standpoint of, I've been through worse. And from the standpoint of what my friends like to, the things they say about me are things like, I don't know what it is, but you seem to dive into a pile of shit and come out smelling like roses. That's what a lot of my oldest friends say. And, or things like, I wouldn't have made it through X, Y, or Z. I wouldn't be here today if not for you. Right now I'm living on those moments. And remembering what's to come. So if you see this, pray for me. And maybe I'll do an update later. Thank you for your time.